Hey, Dean, Downstairs Performance. We're back working on Caprice and made a bunch of headway. Waiting on parts. So, what I found was that ICT air compressor bracket works really good. It's nice. It gets away from having to cut the frame down there to make your compressor fit, which if you see the motor mounts there, and with mocking it up, that motor mount kind of was really close to the AC compressor, so I didn't want to take the chance on having the bolt run into the back of the compressor or something like that, which a lot of people use longer bolts, which you can see that one's barely, it's kind of just barely sticking out. It's a factory bolt. I did weld that nut onto the motor mount so you don't have to get a wrench down in there, but with the bracket up here, you can get a wrench, you can get a socket, you could get whatever down in there. So the nut didn't need to be welded. But I did change the truck water pump, which has that neck coming out the top right there. And it's kind of turned toward the passenger side. So it came really close to hitting this belt here. And with the hose fit. You can kind of see that the hose sat about here and it wanted to rub the pulley, or it will eventually rub the pulley, or the belt will slap into it. So I didn't want to do that, so I changed it for an F-body pump. Got it off of Amazon. It was like 80 bucks or something like that. The spacers, also Amazon, they were like $24 or something like that. So that puts it, with the truck spacing, so you can still align the belt with everything. Had to get the different tensioner. I believe that's like an F-body tensioner. I'm not 100% positive. No, it's not an F-body tensioner. Can't remember. It actually looks a lot like the stock one off the LT1, which it might be. So I may have spent a couple dollars on a new tensioner, but it's a new tensioner. But that tensioner specifically, and this bracket lists that tensioner part number in the description. So, but see, the transmission's fully bolted in, torque converter's bolted in, water pump, bracket. I gotta cut this hose. I'm gonna cut this hose like over here, and then use this end. I'm basically just gonna cut a section out of the hose and put a piece of tube with some clamps on it and turn that hose back over. I got the coil packs on this side with all the wires. And the headers I had ordered originally, like a Flowtech swap header, they were on like a severe back order. Like a lot of the Flowtech stuff seems like it's on big back order. So what I ended up finding was these manifolds from Flowtech, and the part number is 11730FLT. They're cast exhaust manifolds, and they're actually really nice. They fit super good. I will try and show you this. So you can see the wires are in the way. So you can see nowhere near the steering, nowhere near the frame. They stay nice and tight. If you have like a 4L80 or a Turbo 400, I'd imagine you'd have to cut the transmission ears off, which isn't a big deal. Same with this side. It's got plenty of clearance on the frame. It touches it nowhere. It looks like it's touching there, but it's not. I can't really see. There it is. It's got a ton of room. Obviously all this stuff's in the way, but they have a ton of room underneath, on top, everywhere. So those are really, really nice, and they're a nice design. The only issue I had And I finished the exhaust today. So, try and see it. There's the 2-bolt flange that these come with, and they come with the flange for the exhaust side. The only thing is they don't come with gaskets for that. And there's the wideband for the Holley. So I welded that bung in. I made this pipe come down, and it takes not quite a 90, comes over. It's got that little bend right there. You can kind of see the pipe has one bend, and then this pipe actually has another bend in it. So it turns it out toward the passenger side to get away from the transmission. Comes back, takes another bend, and then I went right on to the factory like bell style clamp, so he can take it apart if he ever needed to. But those flanges, those 2-bolt flanges, they have a groove cut in the top. It's actually, I'll show you, a lot like, they don't come with any bolts or any gaskets for that. So like even at the head, they don't come with that gasket. So like a stock LS truck has this like crush seal. So normally these stick up pretty high when they're new. You can kind of see it sticks up a hair right now, but obviously it's used. So it has this same kind of groove in it. There. This groove right here, it's got that same groove. It's smaller, it's more of a 2 1/4 inch. So these, like factory crush seal, would not work in it. It was too big, and I thought about kind of cutting a section out of it and tucking it back, but and in hindsight, retrospect, whatever, I should have flipped it and put this groove down and used the flatter surface up against the manifold. What I ended up doing was using like a high temp RTV against the flange there, where I put the pipe, and I just put a big like 1/4 inch thick bead inside that groove, and then put like a 1/8 inch bead around the kind of the inside lip, and then a little bit around the outside lip, and tightened it up. We do that a lot with headers to the heads, like on the big block, the 33. That's how I put those headers on, and they don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with using like the copper RTV. This one was like a JB Weld high temp that I tried on the 33, and it worked out really good. Has no leaks, and it dries really good, dries really quick too. So it's kind of a bad thing, but it's a good thing. But that's the only downfall to those manifolds, is that they don't come with any bolts, which isn't a big deal, but they don't come with any gaskets. At least if they came with those like crush seal gaskets, for those would be better. And they might not have been in the box. I don't really know. But on the head, I just reused all of the factory LS manifold bolts. These are the like the 13 millimeter ones. And then those flanges down there actually worked out to be like a bell housing bolt for an LS. So, and I have a ton of those. So I just took 4 bell housing bolts and put them in there. Transmission, whatever, bell housing, yeah. I used those. They tightened up really, really good. Then I got the Holley harness down to the transmission, plugged into the speed sensor, which I had to change the plug. This is the older style plug that has like 2 clips that go on the side, kind of like an AC compressor. And then the Holley comes with like the newer style plug like this. So that one has a clip here and a clip over here. So I changed that out. Got the big harness, big plug plugged in on that side of the transmission that goes on the top. And of course, the harness is leaking inside the transmission. So 4L60s, 4L80s have a tendency that the big plug where it comes through the transmission, those little seals where the wires are, they tend to go bad from heat and whatnot. And they'll actually leak fluid out. And when I plugged this one in, it like just spewed fluid out. So he'll have to at some point go get that internal harness changed out on the transmission. It's not a huge deal, but it's a pain in the butt. What else? So I got the harness strung up, like right there where it splits off all the different ways. I got it connected to the back of the cylinder heads, the two grounds that, once again, I show it in every video, say connect to cylinder head only. So that one's connected to there. That one you could barely read, it says connect to. That one is connected right there on that bolt. Then I got the coils plugged in here, and then the front harness is coming over. The coolant sensor's plugged in. This side's more difficult with the heater hoses. You can kind of see that back tab on the valve cover is basically touching that heater hose clamp. And had I noticed it prior, that is the lower hose. Had I noticed it, I probably would have loosened the clamp, spun it so it was facing down. I don't, to be honest, don't know if you'd ever get that clamp off without taking this valve cover off. So that might be something I have to do. But the hose, both those hoses, you kind of see it green behind that wiring harness, hit that last coil pack. You can see all the scratches right there. So I'm gonna have to do something with that. And kind of what I'm thinking is cut this bracket right along that edge where the last coil pack is, and get it on there, get the 3 coils on there, and then kind of have the last coil maybe turned kind of a 90-degree and pointing down. That's kind of the easier spark plug, being that it's way back there. You can see the tip of it. So I have to figure that out, but I got the harness strung all along, and his harness is still a huge mess right now. But I tucked it behind the AC components, and just for right now, it's coming up to here. And my thought is these are like weather resistant, the ECUs. They're like kind of splash proof and stuff like that. Heat, questionable. I know people have run them up there, and they've been on for a while and they haven't had any issues. There's not any room for me to run it up there. Plus, I don't like the idea of kind of heat soaking it. All the heat's going to go up, and then you got the big hood seal, which won't let the air go out. So it really won't get too much airflow there until you're, moving quite a bit, and a lot of it will still be kind of hot air blowing over it. So my idea is to mount it here where the rust pan is. I'm probably gonna get rid of this battery tray and take a piece of tin and kind of weld it in place of all the rot. So that's one option, is to mount it laying down, and then have the plugs come in the back side of it, or flip it, and there's almost enough harness. If I pulled the harness over a little bit, I could have it flipped to where the LEDs were on the back side and have the plugs on the front side of it, which I'm okay with. The better option that I kind of like more is to stand it up right here. Where are you? There you are. Stand it up right here, and have the plugs come in the bottom. Again, get rid of this pan, and then this way here, your LEDs would all be up top, because they are diagnostic. They give you trouble codes. But that's pretty much, kind of the game plan. And then once Once that is in, the intake I got gaskets coming for. Once that's on and this side of the coils is done and all the injectors are plugged in, then I am going to start working through his harness. Mainly getting rid of everything out here that can't be used. The wires that are wrapped up and over are trigger wires from like AC, stuff like that, and then you have the coolant and all those things going in for all the dashboard stuff, which I don't know how much of that I'll be able to integrate. Not too worried about trying to get all of that, being that the Holley does show you oil pressure, coolant temp, fuel pressure, which we won't be using the fuel pressure on this one. So that's kind of where this is at right now. Getting rid of all the giant wiring mess. Get the Holley harness sorted out the rest of the way. Get the alternator bracket on the power steering, which is over there, and I painted everything to look kind of nice. So that's my next step, is get that bracket, get that whole setup on. Tomorrow, the intake, I have an LS1 style intake. But again, I cleaned it up and just shot a little bit of paint on it. I have no clue what this is. It's like EGR or something like that. It's a big hole. So I went and took a piece of solid stock aluminum. I think it's like 1.5 inches, and I turned it down to, it's like 34.84 millimeter to fit inside of there. And then I took an O-ring and I left a lip along the top of this to where the O-ring can sit up against. And then I made this little bracket, just cut it real quick with, like, I used a hole saw, and then just trimmed and put it on the belt sander and smoothed it out, blah blah blah. Just a regular bolt, like a coil pack bolt or something, and then there's a tiny spacer down under there. And I made the spacer shorter so that the bracket sits kind of on an angle, and then it sits on an angle like this. No, like this, right? Crap, I don't remember. No, like that. The spacer is shorter than the top of the plug, so that it tries to pull that tab down, and it tightened down pretty good, and it just started to push the O-ring out just a hair. You can kind of see it around the edge there. So hopefully that works. But it's got the map sensor on it, it's got the brake booster line already on it, the injectors are in it. So I got the throttle bracket, all that tomorrow. The only thing I need is new intake gasket seals. These ones were really crusty, and unfortunately, like an LS4 style doesn't fit because it has all these extra little prongs, whereas these have one little one in the corner. But you can see, like, this one was cracked. They're really hard. So I didn't want to take the chance on bolting it down and kind of having it, leak around that intake. Again, unfortunately, these are like all brand new. Yeah, I could have cut the tabs off and stuck them in there, but new gaskets are $14 or 12 or 8 or whatever it is. So I'd rather just stick new gaskets on there, get rid of those. But that's it. I mean, it's coming along. I gotta string the Holley main battery harness over to where I moved the battery to over here. So I'll string that along, probably come out of this hole or that hole, whichever one. Tuck it behind here. I mean, there's plenty of places on this car to put it. And then I'll string it along with that wiring harness behind everything, and zip tie it all along, and then to the battery I'll cut it down, make it the right length. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it on this one. I mean, we're cranking along. I'm trying to get this done before the weekend. So I'll get back on this and I will update probably tomorrow. I'll probably throw an update, may even have it running tomorrow. So yeah, like I was saying, we're on it. Tomorrow I'll probably do a start, maybe, hopefully, it'd be nice to do a little startup video on the Caprice. But that's it for now. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new pictures, new videos when they come out, and leave me a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Thanks. Have a good day.